Hello everybody, I'm Burnage and this is my review for Excitebike on the Nintendo Entertainment System. One of the best video games ever made. Is it though? That's what I'm here to find out. In Excitebike, you race against the clock on a motocross bike to try and beat preset times that the game has set for you. Each track has a preliminary race that you have to get third place or better in to go to that track's main race. The time you need to beat to get third will be shown on the bottom left corner of your screen. The main race is basically the same as the preliminary one, except for some added obstacles. And if you can get third or better here, then you move on to the next track's main race, skipping the preliminary round entirely. There are 5 different tracks to race on in 2 different modes. If that's not enough for you, there's also a course designer so you can make your own tracks. You can either race alone, or you can race with a bunch of assholes hired by your competitors to get in your way and trip you up. Playing alone really just feels like practice mode for the real race, but it's a hell of a lot more relaxing without the chaos of the other bikers. It took me a while to figure out how all the mechanics work, mostly because there's just so many of them. For starters, there's a turbo button, but it works a lot differently than any other racing game I've ever played. You have to release the gas button to turbo, which just feels kinda weird, and I didn't figure that out for the first few tracks. Also, the turbo button doesn't actually make you go any faster. It just accelerates you to max speed faster. Although you can turbo right before a jump for some added power. You can also pull back on a jump to increase how high you go, or push forward on it for more distance. Are you still with me? There's a lot more. While in the air, you can adjust your bike angle with the goal of landing both wheels on the ground. Don't land perfectly and you lose speed. Or if you land really bad, usually on your front wheel, you'll crash and have to tap the gas button to get back on your bike. To make matters worse, you can only finish crashing on a flat ground. So if you crash at the beginning of a large ramp, you have to continue crashing all the way up the ramp and then back down the ramp, cartoon style, until you reach a flat spot. Also, if you turbo too much, your bike overheats, making you sit on the side of the road for a few seconds while it cools down. If you can cut a racer off and get him to crash into the back of you, you'll wipe him out, but this works both ways, so avoid sniffing butts and try to stay in your own lane. That about sums up all the mechanics. Once you put 3 other racers on the track, defying game physics and getting in the way though, this really starts to get tough. The game clearly tries to keep 3 other racers on the screen at all times. If you get one to crash and wipe out, you only get a maximum of like a few seconds of relief before there's another one on the screen again. It's a complete mess of a free-for-all, especially when you run into parts of the track where there's only 2 paths. 4 bikers, 2 lanes, you do the math. Not to mention the computer racers like to swerve from lane to lane for no reason at all sometimes. Every now and then it's impossible not to crash, as you'll fly off a big jump and land on a previously off-screen racer. This can ruin your time and be pretty frustrating. Where sometimes a racer will just fly out of the sky and land on you like he's a prophet of God to relay an important message. Get fucked, nerd. The blue racer is the worst to deal with. He can move 2 or 3 times your top speed when coming from behind, and then he just slows down and gets in your way once he's in front of you. Once you get to the later, more difficult tracks, you'll be cursing the preliminary race. You just want to do the main race, but you can't. You have to do the preliminary one over and over until you finally get a qualifying time, just for one chance at the main race. Then you choke and ruin everything, and it's back to the preliminaries again. This nightmare is almost over. Yeah, Jesus. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, kill me. Honestly, this game frustrates me more than it entertains me. It clearly is a great game, though. I wouldn't call it one of the best video games ever, but it's pretty fun. Maybe if this were still 1985 or something. I still recommend it to any retro game fan, though. It's definitely worth checking out. Bravo to the creators for making such a complex interactive experience with just 2 buttons and a D-pad. If you want to crucify me for not giving this game the praise that you would hope for, then the comments section down there is calling your name. Dave. Write something mean down here, Dave. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and I'll keep making more. Or not. I'm gonna keep making more either way, I guess. But a like would sure make me feel special. Eh? Make sure to subscribe so you can see when I come out with the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.